This is Bob Sarantino from Italian Roots and Genealogy, and I'm here with Gianluca De Francesco of Zanna Tours in Calabria, Italy. So thanks for being here, Gianluca.
Thank you, Bob. Hi, Bob. Thank you, Bob, for being here. It's a pleasure for me.
No, the pleasure's all mine. I love talking to people in Italy, especially Calabria, because up until about, I guess, 10 years ago, I did not know I had any Calabrian roots.
Yeah, I know. Now you're very proud.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So with that, my first question for you is, I'm going to assume this, and I think I'm probably right. Your family's been in Calabria for quite some time, yes?
Yes, my family probably has been here since the beginning of time, probably. But I've been doing some research because I do ancestry research, as you know, and I did it as well for myself a little bit. And I found out some documents telling that my father's family has been in my father's village since late 1600s. So I didn't find other documents probably because there aren't. But even if my family came in at some point in Calabria, this is part of Calabrian history because, as you know, because I know you know a lot about Calabria, Calabria is a real melting pot, you know, a lot of different ethnies, different cultures over the centuries have been here moving. I mean, actually, they settled here in Calabria. They merged here in Calabria. You know, Calabria is known to be the heart of Magna Grecia, you know, Greater Greece. And this is because the Greeks started coming over to Calabria by the end of the 8th century BC, settling here on the coast of Calabria, founding colonies. And those colonies, in few centuries, became more powerful and more rich than Greece itself. And this is thanks to Calabrian territory that is very rich, rich in minerals, rich in resources. Even today, even you know, now it's known to be a poor area, you know, but actually it's a neglected area, you know, because after the Greeks, we had the Romans. You know, the Romans came in, they took over here in Calabria, they conquered the area. Calabria was part of the Roman Empire for 6 centuries, more or less. Then, after the fall of the Roman Empire, the barbarian hordes, then the Byzantines, the Longobards, the Arabs, all of them wanted to conquer Calabria. They coveted, you know, Calabria was the most coveted land. And this because Calabria, during the medieval times, was the granary of Italy, basically. Most of the food was coming from Calabria, vegetables, grain, cereals, you know. And after the Byzantines, the Normans from northern France, from Normandy, northern France, and then the Angevins, again from France, the House of Aragon from Spain, the Spanish Empire, then the Austrians, then again the Bourbons, you know, the last kings of Italy, and then, unfortunately, in a way, the unification of Italy, because it was actually the conquest of southern Italy. Southern Italy was conquered, you know, and that was the beginning of the end, basically, because the unification, the so-called unification of Italy, is one of the main reasons, if not the only reason, for the immigration, the massive immigration from southern Italy that took place around 1880, started around 1880 after the unification of Italy. You know, so Calabria is a real melting pot. You know, if you take a Calabrian someone with Calabrian heritage anyway, taking the DNA test, they'll find out that they have percentage of blood coming from all over the Mediterranean area, including Jewish blood as well. So that's why, you know, Calabrians, actually, you know, they have been coming here over the centuries. And
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because um, Italian Americans are very what's the word I'm looking for? Want to think that, hey, my grandparents and their grandparents came from Italy. I'm 100% Italian. I did my DNA test, and it says I'm 40% Greek. That's impossible.
yeah, instead, probably, if they were from southern, if they are from southern Italy, that's normal, you know.
Right, and I try to explain. I said to me, there's a difference between DNA and your DNA heritage and Italian culture. I said culture is two different things, from DNA. Yes, we celebrate here being Italians and doing the best we can to have the food that our grandparents ate and everything like that. And having that Greek blood or Arabic blood doesn't take away from your Italian heritage or culture.
No, 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 at all. It's part of your Italian heritage.
Yes, indeed. Uh, so, yeah, interesting thing about my Calabrian background, as you know, my even though they lived in Naples for I guess 100 years or so, my uh, great grandfather on my paternal grandmother's side uh, was the Count of Montebello, and his name was Piromalo, which originally comes from Spain. And I have a real roadblock because I know Piromalo came from Spain in around 1550. And that ancestor was involved in saving a castle someplace. I forget the name of the town. But then I have a gap of almost 200 years, and I
Oh,
cannot close that gap.
yeah, because sometimes, documents get burnt during wars or earthquakes or something like this. So that's why. But, most of the noble families at some point would move to Naples. They would live most of the time where the court was, close to the king, basically.
Mm-hmm.
They still own their property here in Calabria, but most of the time they stayed in Naples.
Yeah, and that's true. And I found that with all of the families, because I have some family that was from Molise, and the same thing. And I just recently learned on an interview the other day that the nobles in Naples did not pay any taxes.
No, no, no. The nobles were collecting taxes.
The good old days, I suppose. So now you're in Catanzaro, yes? Where is that in Calabria?
Catanzaro is in the middle, in the center of Calabria. It's right in the center of Calabria. And it is the capital town of Calabria, of the region. There are 20 regions in Italy. Calabria is one of them. It's like a state, like one of the federal states of the USA, but obviously much smaller. Catanzaro is the capital town. It's in the center. It's not the biggest. I mean, in the biggest town in Calabria is Reggio Calabria, but Catanzaro is in the center, and always throughout history has always been the center of the administrative power. Basically, Catanzaro has always been the most important administrative city in Calabria. But anyway, also Catanzaro is easily accessible from any place you are in Calabria, because Calabria is long. I mean, it could look a small area, but instead it's pretty long because it's nearly 300 kilometers long. It is surrounded by the sea, and in the middle of the inland, in the middle of the region, there are high mountains. So to move through the region, to drive through the region is not so fast. It's not even 300 kilometers. You would take 4 to 5 hours. But Calabria is not just for me, I think, not just because I'm Calabrian. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. And it is very particular because in Calabria you find everything, any kind of scenery, any kind of fruits, any kind of vegetables. It looks like if the whole world is concentrated in few kilometers. There is a story that my grandmother used to tell me when I was a child, before going to bed. She was telling me this story over and over, always the same. And I was asking as well for the same story. And that was about the creation of Calabria, how Calabria was created, by God. It started with the creation of the world, that God took 6 days to create the world. Then the 7th day, he took a rest. And the day after, the 8th day, when he woke up, he realized that he had forgotten Calabria, And because he had already used all the matter available to create the universe, so he decided to take a little piece from each one of the 5 continents and put them together. And so Calabria was born, was created. And actually in Calabria you find, in few kilometers, you go from the coast, maybe from a place that could look like California, you go up to the mountains. In few kilometers, you reach the Sila Mountains in the middle of the region that looks like Canada, with valleys, forests, lakes, and everything else. Then you go to the other side, and you end up in Mexico, in a place that looks like Mexico, with the cactus, dry land and beaches, So that's why it's fantastic. And also you find, as I told you, any kind of fruits here. Any kind of fruits, even the ones that you would imagine to find here. For example, the citron, the etrog, basically, what the Jewish call etrog. The best variety of citron grow in the world grows here in Calabria, in northwest of Calabria. And that variety of citron was brought over to Calabria by the Jewish 2,000 years ago, for example. Then we have the bergamot. The bergamot is a citrus fruit that is a natural mutation. It looks like a grapefruit. When it is ripe, it's yellow, but it is not a grapefruit. It's not it is not even a cross between an orange and a lemon. It's another kind of fruit. 98% of the worldwide production takes place here in Calabria, because the only other place where you can grow the bergamot is the island of Cyprus. And a small percentage is grown there. The rest here, all around in the province of Reggio Calabria, because you can grow bergamot only there. If you can plant it in another place, even in Catanzaro. If I planted the bergamot in Catanzaro, I would have the plant, but I wouldn't have fruits. It's very strange. It grows in a very limited area, only 100 kilometers of coast. In this little stretch of coast, you can grow bergamot. It's unbelievable. It is used for everything, for perfumes, but now they use it as well to flavor cakes or sweets or cookies. But it has always been the main ingredient for the early gray tea, the English tea. The early gray tea, it's made with bergamot.
Wow,
the flavor is bergamot.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And so it sounds like that even because of the way you explained it, it's, you know, a little bit of 5 different continents. I'm guessing that the you know, the cuisine throughout Calabria is vastly different.
Yes. Yes, we have many different local recipes, basically. Obviously, the ingredients are more or less the same, you know, the same vegetables. Obviously, a lot of chili pepper. We have 26 varieties of chili pepper here in
Wow.
chili pepper in Calabria, but some recipes from northern of Calabria are not used in southern Calabria, and the opposite as well. And also there are areas that have measured production. I mean, for example, figs, northwest of Calabria. In that area, they are specialized in dried figs, and they make them all over Calabria. You can find dried figs, but especially in that area, you find all kinds of figs, even the ones covered with honey, with chocolate, stuffed with almonds. You know, any kind of the figs made in different ways. Instead, if you go to the area of Reggio Calabria, for example, you find more things made with chili pepper, concoctions made with chili pepper, or even special sausages with a lot of chili pepper. For example, the nduja. I don't know if you heard about it.
Yeah.
The nduja now is starting to be known all over the world. It's made with pork meat and chili pepper. It's a spreadable cream, basically. It's a sausage that you can spread on bread, you know, so you can make very good bruschetta. Very good bruschetta. And also wine. We have a lot of different variety of grapes, of vines, actually, different varieties, local from Calabria that you can find only in Calabria. A lot of DOC wine, you know. And also we have a lot of borghi, we call them, small villages, small old villages up on the mountains, on the hills, very close to the sea, because anyway, from anywhere you are on the Calabrian coast, in half an hour you are more than 3,000 feet above sea level. So to reach a village on the hill, it takes 10 minutes. And those small villages are, most of them are nearly empty, we could say, because most of the people left for immigration or because they went to live in the major towns or by the coast. And those villages has been left untouched, basically. And they look like, you know, like a movie, because you see those old houses, you know, the old women dressed in black, maybe, you know, like in the movies, you know, the men playing cards, you know. And this is something that, look, in few kilometers, you go from Catanzaro, that is a normal, thriving town, little small town, but anyway, it's a modern town, you know. In 30 kilometers, you find yourself on the set of Cinema Paradiso.
Wow. Wow.
For example, you know.
So that's a good lead into Zanna Tours, because I know you do tours throughout Calabria, and I think the rest of southern Italy, and hopefully things are going to be opening up soon. I'm hoping, I'm praying that we're going to get there in September, but we'll wait and see. But you've sent me some great videos and photos. So what kind of services do you offer for people with their Calabrian roots, to whether they come from a big town or wanted to go to a mountain town? How can you help them?
I can help them from the beginning to the end. It depends. Obviously, most of the people have already been doing research, you know, because when they get interested in their heritage, they do research in advance. But I can help with research in the city halls, in the register offices and everything else. But most of all, I can organize the tour. I mean, organize their trip, their journey here to Calabria. and to the discover of their roots. I can organize everything, all the land services, restaurants, hotels, all the different locations that we are going to visit. And also this depends on which is their village, depending which area is, I will show them the most important highlights of the territory, linked to the story of their village and their family. Because also in Italy, we have minority communities, Albanians, Greeks. So it depends from where you come from. And also, I've been doing, I've been working in the tourism industry for years. I'm a tour guide. I was born in this business as a tour guide. More than 20 years as a tour guide in Calabria, mainly in Calabria and in the rest of Southern Italy as well. I've been working as well in Europe, Northern Europe, basically during winter. I've been doing winter seasons all over Europe. But from 2007, I decided to stay here in Calabria and to focus on Calabria, leading cultural tours, mainly in Calabria, because I've been leading as well walking tours on the mountains of Calabria. I know the whole territory very, very well, from the mountains to the sea, everything, every aspect. My passions have always been history, archaeology. I studied geology, for example, but what led me to this kind of job? It was for sure something good, because this is what I like doing. This is actually the best thing, the best job, if I can call it a job, because it's a passion for me. And also, I really like it. I really like helping people finding their roots, finding all about Calabria, because they don't know anything. People, even in Italy, even in Calabrians sometimes living still here, don't know enough about their roots. They're not proud enough about their roots, because you should know your history to know who you are, basically, and where you're going. This is, everybody knows that. And anyway, into a few years ago, we set up, me with other colleagues, founded Zanna Tour, that is focused in basically producing services for private people, and as well for anyone who wants to enjoy Calabria off the beaten path, of mass tourism, because we don't go to the usual hotels, we don't use the usual restaurants, everything has to be special, everything has to be special and really Calabrian, really true. This is my philosophy, my policy.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And to your point about the passion, I think those of us who do this stuff, I mean, I never thought in a million years I'd be doing a podcast about Italy and roots and things like that. But it does become a passion. And to your point, two things with me is I enjoy helping people, but I also enjoy hearing the stories about the families, like the one you told about your grandmother. Whoever knew that God created Calabria on the 8th day? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we come always as last,
Last but best.
We are the best, I mean, the best, the coolest ones show up at the end in the parties.
That's right. Yes.
The party.
See, some things are true in Italy, some things are true in America. That's right. You always want to be the last one there. Everybody notices you. And Yeah, and like I said earlier, I was very surprised to know that and to find cousins and to actually there are still some I think at least two Pure Malo homes. We don't own them anymore, unfortunately, but there were still palazzos in Calabria that were the families, and I am just dying to see them. And one of my cousins said that quite possibly she'll be able to get us inside one of them, but to see how not just how people lived, but how your family lived. To me, it's a connection and a passion that I have to have, and not
Yes.
everybody feels that way.
Yeah, it will be emotional. I'll tell you. Once you get to Calabria, it will be emotional. You'll be crying. I'm sure. Everybody does it.
Right, and I told my wife, I said, when we're in Naples, we're going to have to find something for you to do for half a day because I just want to go to cemeteries and look for the names of the family and take pictures. She thinks
Yeah.
How do you say crazy in Italian?
It's not the most enjoyable thing for her going in the cemeteries pictures. For us, it's something very interesting. I understand you.
But her mother's family is from Shaka in Sicily, so we're going to go there too. So we'll see if she gets emotional when she's there.
Yeah.
But this has been great fun for me. I love talking to everybody. I love giving people like you the opportunity to talk about your business. And so if somebody wants to get in touch with you to book you for a tour, hopefully this year, but if not, certainly next year, how would they go about doing that?
They can contact me on, just send me an email. Okay, my website is zannatour.com and my email is gianluca@zannatour.com. So you can contact me on these two emails.
Right. And also, I know you have a great Facebook page with a lot of photos and videos that people could check out.
Yes, I have two pages actually, because Zanna Tour, I must explain this actually. Zanna Tour is the company, is the registered company, and is the services are directed mainly to other travel agencies, like American travel agencies who contact me so that I can help them with their clients. But as well, have another website, Tour Guides Calabria.com. This is the other website, tourguidescalabria.com, and the Facebook page, Tour Guides Calabria, where I show a lot about Calabria, and that is for private people, for small groups and individuals, basically, for the ones who want to experience Calabria with their own pace and according to their own interest and heritage as well. Yeah.
Oh, great. That's fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time. I hope things are going to get better there soon. Things are getting a little bit better here, but we still don't know when we're going to be able to travel. So
yeah, but once you get vaccinated, you'll be able to go wherever you like.
Yeah, my wife and I both got our first shot. I go this Saturday and she goes the following Monday. So we should be good to go after that.
Yeah. So I'll be waiting for you here in Calabria.
Absolutely. I can't wait.
I would love to take you to the Piromalli Palace.
That's a promise I'm going to make you keep.
And film you while you are crying in front of the portal.
Excellent. All right. Thanks again.
Thank you, Bob.